It's Jono Brake here, and I'm here with another round of Monday Myth Check. Back again after having a bit of a break. Tonight's Monday Myth Check relates to the t-shirt I'm wearing, which says, "Do not pet the fluffy cows." Let's first of all unpack the story that the myth is that following rules limits your potential. It was interesting because, I was picking about the Monday Myth Check, and then my wife, who's driving at the moment, interjected and said, "What about rule following? You're wearing the fluffy cows t-shirt. Maybe that makes sense." At first I thought about it and I thought, yep, okay, let's do that one. So here we are talking about rules. And the whole point is the do not pet the fluffy cows. It's kind of a funny spin on the idea of the fluffy cows or the bison. We were up in Yellowstone National Park and they encourage you not to go anywhere near them, certainly outside of a car. Even while we were there, someone was actually gored by one because they got too close. It was really simple. When we think about following rules, there's a couple of things I want to kind of dress up a bit here. I am not a rule follower. And so, well, not a good rule follower. And so this has come from my wife. So I got to dig deep on this one. A couple of things. It is important to follow rules. We were going to get out of our car and go over to these bison, but they did come close to us while we were in the car. Obviously no threat because the car is bigger than they are. And so we felt pretty safe. At the end of the day, there's three things that I want to just kind of cover today. One is that rules provide clarity and consistency. I talk a lot about that in business. That's one of the things we look at in the accountability process. Consistency is key. The second thing is that rules really can help build trust and safety. Safety is important, people feeling emotionally safe, but also physically safe. And so following the rules really helps with that. The third one is it creates a great platform for growth. At the end of the day, a baseline of rules, sometimes I'll refer to them as frameworks rather than processes, but a baseline of rules, things that we should do, the way we should go about things, really help us, again, coming back to number one, creating some consistency so that we can then build out a framework to grow. And that's not an excuse to add more rules, but it might be a real opportunity to create that consistent experience. It might be rules around your brand, your standard operating procedures, just rules in terms of the kind of things you expect from your leaders, you expect from yourself, all those sorts of things become very important. There's three things that really matter in terms of why rules are important, and they don't limit your potential. They don't limit the outcomes that you can get, and certainly don't stifle your direction. And so one of the things that we'd like to think about in terms of an action you can take away, let's think about this idea of what do rules do? Well, they give us a framework, an opportunity to reframe the way we look at things. I want you to think about if there are areas where you're getting inconsistent approach in your business, in your life, in your relationships, in leadership. How can you reframe rules to not be seen as a set of restricting outcomes, but great framework in terms of how you can build growth into your future? So this is something to think about today. Rules are okay. It's coming from someone who sometimes thinks they're not. But rules don't necessarily stifle our outcomes, don't necessarily stifle our direction. I'm Jono Brake. This has been Monday Myth Check. As always, enjoy the journey.